All right, everybody. It is the 27th of June, 2026. It is 11:30 a.m. with Poppy, making my way across town. I'm gonna pop by my place to get some fresh clothes. Ended up pulling an all-nighter with my boy Carl Bryan, who's in from Los Angeles, just to be a warrior for the weekend. Because it's special. Today is the release of Hope Is Calling music video at 1 p.m. over at the Catalyst Creative Collective space. And then tomorrow is our next Resonate. So it's a packed weekend. And those sound like simple enough things, like, oh, release a music video and put on a youth event. But I gotta be honest with you, which is why I wanted to document this very critical time, this lull before I get into what's going to be this event, and then an online session with a student, right into finishing up Dear Lynette, the next record project that's on the docket that has a finished music video and a very long story just for the record, let alone the music video, and multiple iterations of trying to express these works and energetically being put on pause or shut down or pivoted. For example, as of 11:30 last night, I'm on set out in the wild filming with a couple of buddies, my buddy Carl, and then Aaron Kane, who's the son of Kelly, Captain Kelly, and we were out there on a park bench of essentially me reenacting being homeless. And a lot of people don't know that I was homeless when I returned. Now, you use more fancy terms, like I have respect for myself, even though I embrace everything I've gone through. And, nobody ever knows how people end up homeless. There's obviously a handful of things that cause people to end up not having a home, or, a rental agreement, or a mortgage agreement, or however way people shelter themselves. There's lots of ways that people can end up in that situation. In my case, it was a whole series of things, and it happened very quickly. It seemed like it happened very quickly, where I'm fine, everything's great, and all of a sudden, I have nowhere to go. Someone can pull the rug out from under you. You could be in a relationship where you guys are working as a team, and then all of a sudden, you're abandoned in the relationship, or your promises or agreements, and you got to deal with it, But I called it nomadic, in that journey of being my mystery tour. I called it a mystery tour. And in my mind, that felt better than I'm homeless, and I'm hopeless and broken, and nobody knows what I'm going through, which is what it felt like. And I think, honestly, a lot of people didn't really know what I was going through because I wasn't revealing it. I wasn't sharing. I wasn't proud of the fact that I was nomadic or I had nowhere to go. And I'm almost 40 years old at this time. I'm in my mid to late 30s, and I don't have anything to show for, and I have a non-existent credit score. So far away from being a homeowner, I'm like non-existent in the system. I haven't had an actual job because I've been doing art and teaching, sole proprietor sort of vibes. I felt like not even worthy of being a citizen. I felt like an alien. I felt like I was an outsider. And you know what? I'm like a privileged person that ended up having a little stint in my story of being homeless and nomadic. I wasn't suffering, and I wasn't starving, you know what I mean? But I've slept a couple nights on park benches, and I've traversed here and there, and I've been able to be empathetic for what people go through that I never was thinking about before. Not ever. I was just assuming that people who are homeless, all those poor people, they should just go get a job. If they don't like being homeless, they should just go get a job. Okay? And if you could pull yourself by your bootstraps, and anyone can go out there and figure it out. And maybe you're familiar, whoever's watching this, you're familiar with these types of ideals, these ideas that and these stories that we tell ourselves about people who are suffering and people who are struggling, and we just write it off. We turn a blind eye and a deaf ear, and we have no idea the story that we're talking about, someone's human experience. They have families, they might have kids, these are real souls. And there's no separation. That's the biggest conversation that's come up lately, is I am alchemizing whether I believe this message of hope or not. What am I hoping for? If I'm being honest, if I'm being 100% honest, because it's a rare occurrence when the heavy questions that I throw out to others come back to me. So I just do it for myself. I'm like, all right, Corey, you're asking people what they're hoping for. What does hope mean to you? In your quest for hope, are you even on a quest for hope? Are you even feeling like there's anything to be hopeful for? I think a lot of people, if they're being honest, they're like, no, I don't have hope for anything. And that's sad. That's why this message had to come out, because if I, as a very committed, devoted person, resilient, schooled and skilled, and if I, in all of that, come to a place of feeling hopeless and broken by this system, by this world, where I'm like, this is pointless, no one cares, we're all just doomed. There's no way to counter this. There's no way to unravel this horrible web that we've weaved of toxicity and trauma and turmoil. We're done. I mean, if I'm being honest, I've come to that place. And then, if I'm being honest, at the same time, I will arrive at places of unity consciousness and Christ consciousness, where I am aware that, hey, there is no separation. If I am in love, if I believe in true love, then there's no separation. If there's someone out there suffering, then so am I. And until we're all whole, what am I hoping for? Wholeness, healing, harmony, wellness, health for everyone. For all beings to be nourished, as my beloved says in our prayer. And every time we pray together, may all beings be nourished and hydrated and have shelter and the support and the help that they need to do what they're here to do. Each of us has a mission to fill. Each of us is here for a purpose. And I'm over here, to the best of my ability and personal example, as vulnerable and cringy and probably distasteful or whatever. I don't know how I show up in your world or other people's worlds. It's not my responsibility. I'm just being an authentic artist for whatever that's worth to whoever it's worth. I don't want to lie. I can't be deceived anymore. I can't, with what I've been shown and what I've experienced, I can't just remain asleep out here. I'm doing my best as an artist. I'm doing my best to express myself in ways that are transferable and relatable to the best of my ability. And that's what today is about for me. That's what I'm hoping for. Hope for all of us. Every single being on this planet deserves to experience hope. If I do, so do you. Thank you so much for watching, and here's to hope. Here's to hoping. Over and out.